Hey everyone, good evening. This is going to be a small session about what to take care of with respect to your exercises and diet routine considering hypertension. Because nowadays hypertension is very common, so we plan to discuss about hypertension. Yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Teresa here. I'm a senior nutritionist with HealthifyMe. Joining me today is Dileep, who's our senior fitness expert. We are broadcasting live today, so we are really excited about it, and we look forward to having as many questions as possible from all of you. So those of you who are joining us, please put in your questions in the comment section and we'll be happy to answer them. Like Dileep was mentioning actually, so today our session is about controlling your blood pressure. And we will be happy to take any questions relating to any topic related to diet and fitness. So let's get started, guys.
Yeah. There's some question. I'm sure you deal with a lot of clients, on a day-to-day basis, right? Especially the hypertension one. So,
Absolutely.
how common is hypertension nowadays? How often do you encounter, hypertension related clients every day?
Absolutely, Dileep. I'm sorry to say, unfortunately, that we do have a lot of hypertensive clients, but so hypertension is on the rise. A lot of it is attributed to lifestyle stress. We know the answers, right? But latest studies show that 33% of the urban population in India is hypertensive. And having said that, even the rural population is hypertensive. We have about 25% of the population which is hypertensive. They do, both sides have about 50% of them on an average have it under control. But again, there is the remaining 50% which either are not aware that they are hypertensive or they are just not taking care. Right?
You call it hypertension is also called as silent killer.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
You just don't know whether you have one. I mean, it's all about you need to really keep an eye on your daily lifestyles and keep an eye on your blood pressure on a regular basis, which is very very important.
Yeah. So Dileep, all of us know, right, that hypertension, you can take care of your diet, and largely it can be controlled through a diet.
Absolutely.
But tell me, what is the role of fitness in dealing with hypertension?
Well, talking about fitness, right? Fitness has a major role to play when it comes to hypertension, right? In fitness, there are multiple exercises, patterns that you can include. There is yoga, Tai Chi is one of the beautiful exercises.
Okay.
You can probably come with yoga and Tai Chi, and then comes strength training as well as cardio exercises.
Okay.
A lot of people have different myths and beliefs around these kind of exercises patterns.
Okay.
We will discuss going forward more about strength training or cardio or yoga
Right.
So what do you think about the diet? Like, do you have any suggestions in particular when it comes to the diet?
Absolutely. So when we talk about diet for hypertension, there are several popular diets out there which I'm sure so many of you are aware of, right? But the most common one is actually a balanced diet, right? One which is really high in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, seeds, low fat dairy products. This is actually called a DASH diet, which is basically dietary approach to stop hypertension, right? So it's called a DASH diet, which is there, and you can dash your way to a healthy lifestyle and reduced blood pressure and maybe even get off your medications, right, in the long run.
Yeah.
But the secret here to maintaining the DASH diet is consistency. So it's difficult, it's quite easy to actually go off track because it requires you to eat healthy, eat clean, maintain your diet on a daily basis. The reason being, very interestingly, the reason being why such a diet is recommended is actually because of the micronutrients in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, potassium, magnesium, calcium, these are the micronutrients which actually play a very important role in maintaining, in keeping your blood pressure levels low.
So adding to that, a lot of people who are hypertensive, they usually put on weight, right? And they are looking to lose weight. And when it comes to losing weight, obviously they tend to balance protein, carbs, and fat.
Yeah.
These are called as macronutrients, but
Right.
they really pay less attention when it comes to your micros,
Right.
your antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, right? It's very, very important. And I would definitely love to hear more with respect to micronutrients from Tessa. Yeah.
Yeah, so what happens here is actually because of the potassium, magnesium, and calcium.
Yeah.
Basically, they interact with each other at a cellular level. So the cells get healthier, right? And the cells prevent the sodium. These other micronutrients, they actually control the sodium intake, the sodium retention by the cells. So what happens is that the minute your sodium, your cells start retaining sodium, there is, water retention, what we call water retention, right? That is when your heart rate starts increasing, because your heart needs to put in more pressure to pump out the blood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what happens actually. So in such cases, these small factors, right? Eating a banana, eating dates, eating broccoli, eating beans. These are such simple ways to get those micronutrients in, and we don't realize how valuable they are to our lives.
Yeah.
Right? To our cellular function,
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
metabolic function, right? So that's a in a nutshell, I mean, this is such a vast topic, can probably go on talking about it, right? So but in a nutshell, yeah, this is what it is, right? So you
Great.
have to ensure that in your diet you are getting in these important micronutrients. And where does it come from? It comes from your fruits and vegetables. It comes from all your your nuts, your seeds. Simple things, right, that we can include in our daily lives. It's not at all difficult at all.
Do you really think they have to depend on the supplements, or they can derive all these micros from the natural resources? Most of them come and ask me that,
Yeah.
hey, do I really have to go for the supplements,
Right.
especially micronutrients?
Right.
Whom do you think face a challenge when it comes to meeting their micronutrients requirements each and every day? Do you
Right.
really recommend supplements for this?
Not at all. In fact, for a hypertensive person, you don't require supplements as long as you can ensure that you're getting your daily requirement
Natural.
of fruits and vegetables and dairy products and your milk products. Your calcium comes from there, your magnesium comes from there, your potassium comes from all the fruits that you're eating. As long as you can ensure that, right? So we all know that there is in India, there is a big question mark about the quality of your fruits and vegetables. We're not dealing with that right now. So keeping that aside, you definitely don't need supplements. You can completely rely on your natural food and bring your blood pressure levels down. Right? So guys, we are open for questions. So it will be awesome to hear from all of you. And actually, you can put in your questions in the comment section. We'll be happy to take any of your questions.
Yeah.
Right?
Those of you who just joined in, this session is going to be a small discussion about what are the aspects you need to take care of when it comes to the diet and exercises, considering hypertension issues, right?
And not to forget, we're broadcasting live, so it's pretty exciting for us actually. So Dileep, coming to something else about fitness, right? I always think I'm not too familiar with the fitness side of it, but I always wonder that when you do your cardio, for example, you're actually raising your heart rate. So does something like that actually help a hypertensive person? Is
Absolutely.
that good for it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of clients think that doing cardio might be very dangerous, keeping hypertension in their mind.
Yeah.
And doing weight training is dangerous, keeping hypertension in there. It depends, right? In what stage are you in?
Okay.
There are certain stages in hypertension too, in the pre-hypertension, and then comes, it keeps increasing, right? If it is, if your heart rate is more than, if your systolic heart rate is more than 150 or 160, probably doing weight training is not recommended, because you should probably start with something which is very, very mild, walkings, a mild cycling, that will really help. So cardio is the actual exercises which is going to do wonders for
Okay.
hypertension for everybody who has this hypertension issue. Okay, cardio in a week you can include cardio up to 5 to 6 days. In fact,
Okay.
you can do up to 30 minutes, okay, each and every day. And when it comes to the strength training, you can include twice in a week. Okay,
Okay.
2 or 3 times in a week might it will definitely work. Okay,
All right.
and talking in specifics with respect to the strength training, what to do and what kind of exercise you need to choose. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, people have this doubt whether should I lift heavy or should I do more repetitions. Or there are many questions that I come across. To keep it simple, in those 2 or 3 days of weight training in a week, you can include 8 different type of exercises, and you can do up to 3 sets, and you
Okay.
can do up to 8 to 12 repetitions each and every set. Okay,
Okay.
try to avoid the overhead exercises, any exercises which is above your neck region.
All right.
Try to avoid the for example, overhead dumbbell press, or
Okay.
any kind of exercises which you,
Why is that? Why is that actually?
because your blood flow will increase very dramatically if you do the
Oh,
exercise which is
okay.
overhead.
Okay.
Right, so you should always try to do unilateral exercise. What is unilateral? Now, when I'm going to do a bicep curl using a rod, you call it as bilateral, right? So I'm going to use a dumbbell to do it, because here I'm going to using only one muscle of my body.
Okay.
I'm not using both the muscles at the same time.
Okay.
That requires a lot of effort for your heart to pump the blood.
Right.
It is already struggling. Upon that, if you push both the muscles at the same time, it's going to be, it is slightly under, you cannot, you don't take a chance by doing two muscles at the same time. So you
Okay.
try to do only one muscle at a time, that is unilateral exercises.
All right.
Okay, and you should avoid isometric exercises too. What is isometric exercises? Now I'm going to do one exercise and I'm going to just restrict the movement there. I'm just going to hold at one particular movement. So that is isometric. You should not do that. You should not hold your breath while doing strength training.
All right. Okay.
Which is very dangerous. You need to make sure you're breathing free.
Okay.
And when you're doing concentric movement, what is concentric again? So I'm using all these fitness terms probably.
Yeah, I know. I'm learning a lot here, guys. I don't know about all of you, but I'm surely learning a lot here.
A few people might not really understand what is concentric and eccentric. Concentric is something that when you're applying the pressure. For example, a bicep curl, I'm going to do this. This is concentric. When you're doing concentric, try to exhale.
Okay.
Similarly, there are many other parts. When you're doing those exercises, make sure when you're concentric, during your concentric movement, make sure you exhale.
Okay.
These are all the small tips which makes a huge difference when it comes to the weight training.
Right. Right.
Okay, when it comes to cardio or any kind of exercises, when
Right.
you get inside the gym, so a lot of people have doubts that how often should I take a break when I'm doing my exercise in the gym? Should I take a break every 30 minutes or should
Okay.
I take a break every 10 minutes? It depends on fitness levels of that particular individual.
So this holds true even for hypertension. Like
Yes.
when they get in, do they take smaller breaks or longer breaks, or is
Yeah,
there
yeah.
any difference like that?
Yes, absolutely, especially for the hypertension people who are just started off with exercises
Okay.
that in the gym.
Okay.
Probably in the beginning they can take up to 10 minutes.
Okay.
You train for about 10 minutes and then you take a break.
Okay.
And then again start for another 10 minutes. You take a break. For those people who have that, who cross the second or third stage of
Right.
hypertension,
Right.
whose
Okay.
systolic blood pressure is more than 150, which
Oh,
is 150,
okay.
160.
Right.
Okay, and those people has to start from these baby steps.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so that the 10 minutes will become 20 minutes.
Okay.
20 minutes will become 30 minutes, so that they can take a break and then they do. So
Right.
if you really think, and it also depends on the options around your house, right?
Right.
During our normal lifestyle, you cannot really force yourself to one type of exercises.
Right.
Be it
Right.
be yoga or be it gym or whatever. Like you cannot just force yourself. You need to look for the options which are available around you
Right.
and choose among those options. Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
And looks like we are getting more questions. Yeah, there is history of hypertension in my family. Is my risk of getting it's
Getting it
higher,
higher.
and what do I need to do to reduce the risk? Absolutely, it's very simple. Keep it very very simple. Change your lifestyle. Make a small changes in your current lifestyle. That is,
Absolutely.
if you're inactive, make sure you break that inactivity levels each and every hour. Let's say you're going to office, you just sit at one particular place and you're concentrated towards your work. You keep working, you don't even know how many hours you sat on that particular place. Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure every hour you break that inactivity on a consistent basis.
Right.
Which is that makes a huge difference. These are all the small things. You call it as the lifestyle changes. Okay.
Right.
And take care of your exercise. So weekly, as I said, try to do 5 to 6 days of cardio. When I say cardio, go out for a walk. Start with the walkings if you are not started with any kind of exercises. Okay. So a lot of people, suggest do 30 minutes of walking and 1
Yeah.
hour of walking.
Yeah.
People who are not even started of doing any kind of exercise, people who are so inactive in their lifestyle,
Right.
asking them for doing 30 minutes of walking or 1 hour of walking is very
Is
very
a-
challenging,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
usually suggest this to my clients. Okay, if you are someone who's just about to start doing the exercises, walk only for 5 minutes from your house, only 5 minutes. Why? I usually recommend my clients to start out like this. When I say 5 minutes, that 5 minutes to start from their house is about certain distance,
Yeah.
and to go back to their house
Yeah.
it takes another 5 minutes,
5
so it
minutes.
is 10 minutes.
Right.
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 So that's how you start off. Okay.
Right.
And try to do about 2 to 3 times of weight training. That makes a huge difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have any practice of smoking or alcohol, try to reduce. I'm not asking you to stop it all of a sudden. Try to reduce. As you reduce, you're gonna at one particular day you're gonna just give up on it. Okay. Try to hang out with friends or your colleagues who don't really smoke or drink, which makes a huge difference in you. All right. So that's my answer for you question.
Yeah.
I
So,
have-
just to add on to that, Dileep, there is no guarantee that you have to get hypertension just because it runs in your family, right? So that is actually a myth. So if you take care of your lifestyle and your diet right now, you don't need to ever get hypertension, even though it may run in your family, right? So the genetic factors can be mitigated with just taking care of these lifestyle modifications that Dileep just spoke about. The other thing is also eating clean, eating healthy, of course, staying away from alcohol and smoking, especially if you have a history. That is when you need to be doubly careful about these kind of lifestyle choices, right? And just being conscious about being physically active is a great way to, keep this one a disease at bay, right? So we have Farheen who asks us that, what meals do I take to keep hypertension under control? Right, so this is yet another common question that we do come across. Thank you, Farheen, for joining us and for asking that question actually. One thing is that you have to ensure that your diet is low in sodium, right? So when we say sodium, almost all foods in their natural form do contain some amount of sodium, right?
Yeah.
And that is sodium which can be processed by the body and excreted out, right? It is not something which is in such high quantities that it is retained and it leads to water retention. But today in our present lifestyle, we eat so much of processed food, right? We eat so much of fast food, processed food. There is something called a taste maker which is added to all of these foods. There is MSG which is there, monosodium glutamate. All of these are different forms and versions of sodium, right? And sodium is basically salt, right? And by keeping that under control is one of the first steps to ensure that your hypertension is under control, that your blood pressure is under control, right? The other is definitely by eating 2 salads a day, max 1 to 2 fruits a day, right? These are other ways by which you can ensure, because like I said, if you remember in the beginning, I was talking about potassium, magnesium, calcium. So by ensuring that you're adding these kind of foods into your daily diet, you can keep your hypertension under control.
Yeah, I hope that answers your questions, Fareed. I have Mridu asking me a question saying, what are the basic do's and don'ts for exercises, right? I hope you got an answer from Teresa about your diet. With respect to exercise, it depends, right? What kind of exercises are you going to do? Is it about cardio or is it about strength training? What's your practice on a regular? If it is cardio, you need to measure your heart rate before you start with the exercises. See what's your heart rate it is,
Okay.
and see what is if it is above 150 or 160 systolic,
All right.
right?
Okay.
You have to make sure, as I said, start with the basic walking
Yeah.
and for about 10 minutes,
Okay.
and take a break,
Okay.
then again do another 10 minutes.
All
Okay?
right.
So don't try to
Do too much.
yeah, do
Yeah.
too
At,
much.
at one go.
Yeah, try to
yeah.
break that cardio, of about 10 minutes
Okay.
each.
Okay.
Okay. If it is less than 150, or if it is around 140 around pre-hypertension or around hypertension, in that particular region, you need to make sure you can do up to 20 to 30 minutes
Okay.
continuously,
Okay.
moderate intensity.
All
okay,
right.
when
Okay.
it comes to cardio.
Okay.
When it comes to weight training, I personally don't recommend weight training for those with above 160
Okay.
systolic blood pressure.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend them to do cardio to get them stabilized, get the stability in terms of their heart their blood pressure
All right.
for about few weeks, and then after that slowly they can move to strength training, especially
Okay.
those above 160 systolic blood pressure.
That is
alright?
actually high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to weight training, as I said earlier, don't do any exercises which is above, overhead. I mean, you shouldn't do, for example, these shoulder press, overhead shoulder press, something which bend your head and do the exercises. Okay, that elevates your heart rate, too much. You
Too
need to
much,
make sure
okay.
it is, you do mostly isolated exercises or
Right.
unilateral exercises, one muscle at a time.
Okay.
And you can, it also depends, once again, that your heart rate is above 140 and less than 150, and you have to make sure you use very less weights. I mean, very less weight, when I say very less weight, you can do more repetitions out of it. You don't
Right.
have to lift more. When you're lifting more, you tend to restrict your breathing pattern.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to hold your breath and then lift that heavy weight.
Yeah.
which is
So
going to
you
be-
were mentioning that is
Yeah.
not a good idea.
You have to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
you use less weights and more repetitions,
Okay.
and that would definitely help you.
That's
I
a
hope
great
that answered your question, Mridu.
Awesome. Great. So, just coming to all of this, like we have a lot of questions on what are the do's and don'ts. A lot of people are asking both in terms of diet,
Mhm.
in terms of exercise,
Mhm.
right? So, something very interesting that I have come across actually while talking to some of my clients is, some of the myths,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yeah.
a lot of them have a lot of misconceptions about, about hypertension.
Mhm.
Right, so one of them actually we dealt with earlier, which was in one of the very first questions, which said,
Mhm.
I have hypertension running in my family, so what do I do to reduce the risk? A myth associated with that is, I have hypertension running in my family, and I'm sure to get it, so, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to end up with it. So that's
Yeah.
not true actually, right? So you can do a lot about ensuring that you don't get blood pressure
Mhm.
just by making those right lifestyle choices.
Mhm.
Yet another myth that comes up is that I don't use table salt,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of people say, my cooking is salt free, right? Or my cooking is saltless,
Oh,
right?
interesting.
So does that work? Is that true? Uh, Actually, salt free is also not a good option,
Mhm.
right? Because your body does need a certain amount of sodium, and if it goes below that certain amount, then you actually have speech problems, you have comprehension problems, you have there are multiple, you can feel disoriented because you have too less sodium in your body, so that also doesn't work. The other side of it is that I'm not using table salt,
Mhm.
but I'm using black salt. I'm
Mhm.
using Himalayan pink salt.
Mhm.
I'm using sea salt,
Mhm.
right? So people come up with all these. There are all these other variations of salt which are
Mhm.
there, right?
Mhm.
The fact is salt, right? So
Okay.
if you're using salt, you have to keep it in moderation.
Okay.
People with hypertension should be consuming less than 2,500 milligrams in a day, which is roughly a little less than 2 teaspoons a day, right? So that is something else. That is another myth which is there. The last myth that I wanted to speak about was red wine is good for the body, for the soul. For the soul, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
But red wine is good, so I can have as much of red wine as possible.
Oh, wow.
Right? Red wine is still alcohol. Right? So it has to be kept in moderation. Nothing changes the fact that red wine is still alcohol. Yeah. So absolutely. So that also has to be treated in moderation. So these are a couple of the myths which are there, right?
Okay.
So hi Tejo and hi Neha, how are you? Welcome to our session. We're broadcasting live today. Our topic for today is actually, how to deal with hypertension, how to keep it under control. So welcome, and please feel free to share your questions with us. We would be delighted to answer them.
Yeah. So adding to the diet, right?
Yeah.
I do come across these questions from the clients saying, "Sir, I put on my weight, and I am a non-vegetarian,
Okay.
and I've given up on the non-veg. I don't consume non-veg.
Right.
Will I lose weight?
Right.
And I also have hypertension issue.
Right.
So, is non-veg something to do with hypertension? Okay.
Right.
Now
Okay.
that is one question for you.
Okay.
And other, like, how do they, for vegetarians, what they have to take care of, and when it comes to the non-vegetarians, do you suggest anything in particular with respect to vegetarians and non-vegetarians, or is it common?
Right. So vegetarians definitely have an issue where the protein intake is low.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the protein intake has to be taken care of for vegetarians. They have to work on it. They definitely get their micronutrients in place because there's a lot of fruits and vegetables going in. Right. Probably what everyone, whether it's vegetarian or non-vegetarian, what you need to keep in mind is consuming legumes, consuming your sprouts, consuming your nuts, your seeds. So when we talk about seeds, it's things like sunflower seeds, right? Flax seeds.
Okay.
These simple things which are now today very popular, right? And easily available too, which wasn't available so much or wasn't so popular even 5 years back, right? So consuming these things would help both vegetarians and non-vegetarians. For the vegetarians, yes, protein is something which you have to take care of, and you have to ensure you get enough protein because that's a building block of life.
Yeah.
Right, and that is required by every organ in our body, more so by the heart. And when you are hypertensive, there is a lot of damage which happens around your heart muscles and within your heart itself. So if you don't get enough protein, then your body doesn't have enough protein to rebuild those muscles and tissues. Right, so protein is very important for vegetarians. For non-vegetarians, it's just the opposite. They have no issues with protein, right? So they get enough and more of their protein intake. So that's great. But yes, one thing that has to be kept in mind is consumption of red meat.
Oh,
right? So
okay.
that has to be under control. Right?
Okay.
Yes. Consuming too much, there have been enough and more studies which show a link between consuming too much of red meat and hypertension. Right? The other is assuming that non-vegetarians do put on more weight because of eating non-veg is a myth actually. That is not right, right? So that gaining weight has nothing to do with, in fact, if you eat more protein, you probably will have your weight under control, right? But it depends on the quality of protein. What is the source of protein that you're eating? Right, so egg whites, lean chicken, fish is very important. So fatty fish, right, which is good in omega-3, which contains a lot of omega-3, is very, very important to keep hypertension under control.
Okay.
To keep blood pressure under control, because the DHA in it, the EPA in it is these two things are what help to keep, again, not to get too technical, right, because otherwise our viewers would completely be lost, But not to get too technical actually, but these two things are very important for the intracellular activity, right? And they help to keep your hypertension under control.
Okay.
Right? So yeah, and for non-vegetarians, eat those salads, guys. Eat those fruits. That is something that non-vegetarians prefer to keep away from. So that is something that they need to consume.
Great, thank you.
More
That
of.
was
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
that was good. Yeah. So on YouTube, Priya joined. Hey Priya, welcome on board. Sorry, we missed your questions earlier. Can walking for 30 minutes daily prevent hypertension?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It will. It also depends on what's your blood pressure at present right now. If your blood pressure is on a higher side,
Okay.
yes, walking for 30 minutes might be really, difficult for you to take. Probably 10 minutes. You can, if it is on a higher side, 10 minutes, take a break. 10 minutes, take a break.
Okay.
If it is on a lower side, let's say it's a pre-hypertensive, zone, in that particular case, 30 minutes absolutely will help you.
Okay.
And also, if you are overweight, to reduce the weight, probably walking alone might not help. Okay.
Okay.
So, along with walking, try to incorporate at least 2 or 3 sessions of weight training in a week.
Okay.
That will
Okay.
definitely
So
help you.
so I've heard this, Dileep, where so you walk fast and then you walk slow, right? So you keep varying your speed. So that is supposed to help with weight loss and maybe even keeping your hypertension under control. Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, so you're basically training your heart. What is
Okay.
meant by cardio exercises?
Okay.
Cardio is something to do with your heart. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Now you're gonna increase your intensity, decrease your intensity, increase and decrease. So you're gonna prepare your heart to supply that nutrients to each and every part of your body.
Absolutely.
In most of the time. So
Yeah.
you're gonna train it how you want to, so that it supplies throughout the day.
Okay.
And it looks like we have so many questions coming on our way.
Yeah.
I am 37. What is the perfect blood pressure? I am 37 and always have 100 and 140. How do I control? See, when I say perfect blood pressure, there's no perfect blood pressure.
Yeah, but the
There is
acceptable.
ideal.
Yeah,
There is
ideal, yeah.
blood pressure range, which is between 90 and 120. Okay, if it is above 120, you need to be worried. You need to
Keep an eye out.
Hey, what's
Yeah.
happening? What's
Yeah.
happening? Where
Yeah.
am I going wrong? Okay. Yes, you have, and it varies between 100 and 140. What you said. In that particular case, once again, cardio and weight training. You can start with weight training and cardio both in a
Okay.
week at least. You can do up to 5 days or 6 days of moderate intensity cardio.
Okay.
Each session can be of 30 minutes and
Okay.
2 sessions of weight training
Okay.
for about 30 to 40 minutes. So when you're and also when you're doing the exercises and diet exercises with respect to cardio or weight training, the procedure is very, very important.
Okay.
How you start
Okay.
and how are you going to sustain in that 30 minutes and how are you going to end. You're going to warm up your body, stretch properly, and then you're going to continue that and make sure there is enough resting gap, resting period in between each and every set.
Okay, so that you don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing which is very important is your mindset before you begin with the exercises. You
Okay.
need to be very relaxed before you start with the exercises and then walk, control. You should feel like you are in control with respect to your heart rate. It is not beating it is not very
High.
it's not
Yeah,
high,
it's
high,
not- it's not like a
control.
palpitation. Yeah,
You
yeah.
start with very, very slow and improve your heart rate and then continue the remaining exercise. At the end, cooling down is very, very important. You cannot just all of a sudden you're running on a treadmill or you're doing some exercise or some weight training and you cannot all of a sudden stop it.
Okay.
You have to cool down for at least about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then again you stretch and stop. Okay.
Okay.
That's the procedure.
Great.
So Tommy, probably you can follow this. Tips will definitely help you.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask,
Okay.
can I get rid of medicines?
Okay.
You call it anti-hypertensive medicines.
Right.
Yes, Manish, it's a complicated question. It depends on, there are many parameters that I need to consider before I answer
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
So it also depends on what your doctor has suggested, with respect to your blood pressure.
Right.
Do you have a plaque? Is it atherosclerosis? What causes it? Blood? Is it because of your lifestyle? Is it because of your daily stress levels?
Right.
It depends on that. And on a long run, okay, working with medicines, right? You consume antihypertensive medicines, and with respect to that, with respect to your blood pressure, okay, you have to design your exercises and diet routine, okay.
Right.
And that exercises has to sustain for a longer duration. People do say exercises will help to get rid of medicines permanently, but unless you don't practice it or repeat your exercises on a regular basis, you cannot get rid of medicines. You need to make sure you practice and make it a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Throughout, you can definitely get rid of medicines on a long run.
Absolutely. So consistency is the key, both in terms of diet and fitness. One thing is that, Manish, you can reduce your dosage, right? So over a period of time, if you are consistent with your diet, with your fitness, reducing the dosage is something that most doctors are comfortable to go ahead with, right? But stopping medication completely may also have side effects, and very rarely do you see doctors need to monitor it for a long period of time before they actually tell you that yes, you can go off your BP medication, right? So BP, diabetes, these are all things which, once you get onto the meds, it's pretty difficult to get off it, right? But maintaining a healthy lifestyle is one way to ensure that your dosage can be reduced, right? And over a period of time, if you stay consistent with it,
Yeah.
which is the absolute key to all of it, to losing weight and keeping your BP under control, I think it shouldn't be a problem at all, right?
Yeah.
So that is awesome. We have Shambit who has joined us. Yeah. So he said, hi Shambit, how are you? Welcome to our session. So we are broadcasting live today, and our topic is, how to control hypertension, how to control blood pressure. So your question that I would like to read out is, I'm 27, my weight is 88, my blood pressure is 145 by 90. Please help me lower it. Doctors have given me medicines. How do I get rid of it? So, Shambit, you are a classic case, actually, if I may say so, right? Someone who's young, who should be absolutely active, fit, healthy, you have your whole life ahead of you, and you've already got onto medication, right? So definitely, there are lots of ways by which you can control it. 145 by 90 is a little high, right? So the first thing is, watch what you're eating, right? See what is it in your daily diet that is harmful towards blood pressure, right? It could be that one, lunch in office where, you're just eating out because you don't have a choice. Try and order something healthy, right? If that's what you are doing, right? Eat a salad every day, carry a fruit with you every day, drink a lot of water, start your day with 2 glasses of warm water. Keep it simple. Just start your day with 2 glasses of warm water, right? Ensure that your diet has a lot of, low-fat dairy products in it, right? So it could be yogurt, it could be buttermilk, it could be just milk. If you can have milk, if you can tolerate milk, go ahead and have that. You can even have banana, which is so simple, right? It's so freely available. You can have a banana a day that is full of potassium, and it actually helps to lower blood pressure. You can have flax seeds.
No.
Right? So these are simple things. Flax seeds are very high in omega-3. So that is something which can actually help to keep your blood pressure under control, because it also helps to keep your weight under control. Taking flax seeds for a long period of time can actually keep your weight under control, right? So these are simple ways in which you can manage your diet, but you need to start now. The urgency is right now, right? So don't wait for it. Take your medication. Don't skip it. Don't skip it. Don't miss it. If your doctor has given you a specific time when you should be taking it, either early morning, before you eat anything, or if it is after a meal, or even in the night. Some people also take beta blockers in the night. So if it is in the night, take your medication, right? And once you get onto a healthy lifestyle, trust me, you will be able to reduce your dosage. So don't lose heart, but stay focused and completely get on to clean eating. Right?
So to add to that, Samit's query, with respect to, hypertension and reducing the weight.
Right.
See, if you want to work on if you want to reduce that hypertension issue, the first solution, the first thing that you need to do is reducing your weight.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely.
So for your height, you mentioned as 5'6", right? Yeah, you're 5'6". For your height, you should be somewhere weighing between 65 and 70 or 72, 73ish. It's okay. So you need to get to the get to that amount of you need to get to that particular number. Okay, out of 8, right now you're 88 kg. Even if you reduce around 6 kg, even if you reduce around 5 to 6 kgs, that makes a huge difference. That
right.
brings in a lot of changes in your blood pressure.
Right.
Okay, so make sure you work on weight loss right now. I don't know what your physical activity levels are. I don't know what your lifestyle is. I don't know what kind of food you consume, what kind of exercise that you've been used to earlier.
Yeah.
What is
Very
that you're
important.
doing right now?
Yeah.
What is that your plan? It depends on many parameters. Okay, so your medications, your water intake, your stress levels, and how active you are throughout the day. Remember all these things, which is very important. So if you're a beginner who haven't done any kind of exercises, start with walking and keep yourself active. That does a lot of difference in you. And if you're someone who has done some kind of exercise in the past, try to squeeze in strength training into your routine or resistance training into your. If you're not really confident in not doing strength training or resistance training with respect to when to breathe out and when to breathe in, and how many sets and how many repetitions you should do, probably take a help of your fitness coaches and dietitians. Do reach out to us, or please do reach out to me. And on your HealthifyMe app, you can reach out to us very easily. We will definitely answer your question. I need to take care of many parameters into consideration, and I can definitely help you understand where exactly you need to work on in detail.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get stressed out about your blood pressure. That just adds to your blood pressure, right? So stay calm. There are multiple solutions to it. We would be happy to help you out, but more than that, I think if you start making the right choices, I think you're just on the path to getting your BP under control. So we have Ravi who has joined us. Hi Ravi, how are you doing? Ravi Shankar, so welcome to our show. And Ravi has a question. So he's 44 years old and he's just got to know that he has blood pressure. His blood pressure is 168 by 100. And Ravi would like to know if there is any way to find out what is the level of muscle damage around his heart.
Yeah, to add to that, Ravi, so your blood pressure, your systolic blood pressure is around 168.
Yeah.
Which you have crossed second stage or third stage.
Yeah.
And 100 diastolic. Okay. See, the question like how much your heart muscles are damaged right now. To tell you that it depends, right? Is this blood pressure started off
recently
or is it constant in the last 1 year? How I don't really know from what is the period, okay? So it depends on that too, and it depends on whether you drink alcohol, whether you have any practice of smoking or alcohol.
Right.
So drinking and alcohol
so that adds to the damage, right?
Does affect your internal organs to a certain extent, because all our internal organs are connected to one another.
Absolutely.
Okay? So to answer the question how bad your heart is structurally, a doctors would be a scanning would be in an hospital, and diagnosing that thing would be a better idea. Please do visit the doctor right now and get the scanning done, get the prescription, and then after that do contact your fitness coaches and dietitians who are certified, who has good experience in training clients with us, hypertension issues, and then it would be really good. Get on to medications and start working out.
Right.
Change your small lifestyle modifications.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ravi, just to add on to what Dileep was just mentioning, right? The muscle damage can actually be reversed. Right? There are so many ways in which you can do it, right? So the first is if you start increasing your protein intake, you can actually help to rebuild those muscles, right? So just focus on, again, the point is not to, wonder how much of damage has been done, but the point is to think about, how do I take care of this going forward? I still have my whole life ahead of me. So how do I take care of it, and how do I ensure that, it doesn't get worse, right? And over a period of time, by giving yourself the right amount of inputs in terms of diet, in terms of exercise, for sure you can strengthen your heart muscles.
Yeah.
Right? It can be done. You may actually be at a stage when you would need additional supplements just to help complement the process of recovery. Right? So that is also there. But yes, protein intake, increasing your protein intake is a great way to stave off the process of damage, and to keep it under control. So do that, for sure. From now, start increasing your protein intake, start having more fruits and vegetables, and I think it should be okay, right? But to know the exact level of damage, you would have to
Visit the doctor.
visit the doctor.
And clinic
yes,
and see
yes.
how it is functioning. Okay.
Absolutely.
May have a question here. How does sleep impact blood pressure? I have insomnia, and is there any connection between insomnia and blood pressure? See, insomnia, with respect to your sleep, there are it depends on many parameters, like how relaxed are you throughout the, how did your day go?
You can get
And
stressed out by
yeah.
saying, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not sleeping, and
Yeah.
then
How stressed
that
you
can
are,
stress you
how
out.
stressed you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Was there an exercise routine in your routine throughout the day? And what, it depends on what kind of food you eat.
Yeah.
And it also related to many other medical complications. Yes, hypertension might be one of the reason. So if you're not aware of your blood pressure, please do, and please do check.
Check it.
If your
yeah.
blood pressure is normal, then it's no, and if it is not, maybe yes. Okay?
Yeah, there
now,
could be.
Yeah, how does sleep impact blood pressure? See, now when you're sleeping, usually your organs need less, as it doesn't demand more nutrients
Right.
while you're sleeping.
Right.
Now your heart is finding difficult to even pump that amount of nutrients across the body, right? Your heart has to do minimal amount of work when you're sleeping.
Right.
And your heart is not so efficient to even supply that amount of nutrients. And if it is doing twice the amount of work what it is supposed to be done.
Yeah. It puts a strain around the muscles.
It puts a strain around your muscles. It's like you're sleeping and you feel like you're running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
How
absolutely.
do you expect yourself to sleep?
Yeah.
Right. And hypertension people, they usually feel like this. They're just sitting on one chair and then they feel like they're running on a treadmill.
It's going da da da
Okay.
da. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So
it's
similarly,
really like a train, or
Yeah.
on a like a runaway train actually.
Mhm. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. And
Saurabh says ahoy. So hi there, Saurabh.
Yeah.
Welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us. It's great fun to answer these questions actually. We have Krishna also who has joined us.
Yeah.
So Krishna says, I have BP of 140/80. Sometimes it goes to 150 or 160, and I'm keeping an eye on it. Very good. Happy to hear that, Krishna. I'm 28 and weight is 85 kg. My height is 5'7". Please suggest some exercise. Can I join the gym? I do regular jogging too.
Fantastic.
So that one's for you.
Fantastic. So you're almost there, Krishna. It's a very good question. You know what you're doing, and with respect to your exercises, current exercises routine, which is only jogging, I believe, you're still planning to join the gym.
Yeah.
Yes, you can absolutely join the gym. When you join the gym, with respect to your heart rate, yes, you can do weight training. Try to do about twice in a week.
Okay.
That's more than enough.
Okay.
And as I did mention earlier about don't do overhead exercises, and don't do bilateral exercises, because when you do bilateral exercises or
There's lot
compound
more pressure, I think.
yeah,
Right?
I mean you're using bigger muscles,
Okay.
or you're using multiple muscles at the same time,
Okay.
which requires a lot of
More blood flow.
blood flow.
Yeah.
So rather than doing compound movements or bilateral movements,
Okay.
try to do unilateral. That is only one muscle at a time,
Okay.
and don't do a lot of isometric where you restrict your movement to one particular position.
Right.
And try to exhale when you're doing a concentric movements with respect to strength training, and don't lift heavy. Okay.
Okay.
Try to keep it very less, or moderate. Try to do more repetitions, and there should be ideal, resting period in between each and every set.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, weight training will definitely do wonders along with your, cardio exercises routine.
Right.
So yeah, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Please
So
do continue.
I think Shamrit also has the same
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Can I
Yes,
join the
Samit.
gym? So
Yes, I mean,
yeah.
definitely, definitely, yes. Gym is a big yes. Please do join.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you can also connect with our fitness experts, right?
Yeah.
So Dileep himself is a senior fitness expert,
Yeah.
so he would be happy to
Yeah.
guide you. We have we have a larger team actually out here, extremely experienced in handling similar
Absolutely.
cases.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
it'll be great, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
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 So thanks so much for joining us, Samrit, and I hope we have answered your questions actually.
So Samit, to add to that, gym is an option, but is it easily available for you? Can you squeeze that 30 to 40 minutes? If you say 30 minutes of gym, traveling, the commuting takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Can you give that amount of time to yourself when you join the gym?
Okay.
Think of that, because everybody can just go and join the gym, but can you, squeeze in that routine each and every day, right?
Right,
That is very,
right.
very important. So please do look out for that, and make sure you have enough time. Or you can also do workouts at home. You don't really have to depend on the gym. You can do a lot of body weight training. Okay, you call it as strength training or resistance training. That does wonders.
Right.
That gives you the same effect
Okay.
as gym does.
Okay.
So yeah, gym can be one of the option if you have that, that amount of time in a day. We have that flexibility. Please.
And
do
also,
join.
I think working out with other people, I think that also adds as an added motivation, right? So when you work out with other people, when you have friends joining you, something similar like that. I think for a lot of people, working out in groups, in gangs, with friends, that is a great way to get fit, right? So if you live in an apartment, I'm sure you'll be able to find that one person who can keep you company, right? And go for a walk with you, and something as similar for especially for the ladies. It works very well, so we always see groups of ladies in apartments going out for a walk. Sometimes it could be a stroll rather than a walk, a brisk walk, but still, right? So it's all about getting active, just getting out of the house, stepping out and doing some deliberate physical exercise, right? So for a lot of people also, especially the women in India especially actually, the women are at equal risk, as compared to the men. And post-menopausal women are actually at a higher risk, right? So the point is that it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter at all. You have to take care, and you should be aware of the fact that you are at risk for hypertension, right? So you need to keep an eye on it, keep checking it. Look out for some symptoms, but I think like how at the beginning of our session, Dileep had mentioned, hypertension is a silent killer.
Yeah, it's a silent
Sometimes
killer.
you really don't know whether you have it or not, and if you are post 30, right, when you go to a doctor, just get it checked. Right? You have nothing to lose, just get it checked, see what is your BP levels, and keep an eye on it, right? So just if you have sweating and a high heart rate, and if you have nausea or something like that, is not a sure shot indication of hypertension. So there are multiple other ways also by which you could be hypertensive. The point is to keep it checked, to have an eye on it, and to get active, right? And eat healthy. Yeah. So the one thing is that you can reach out to us. We would be happy to help you out at any point in time, even just to answer your queries. We would be most happy to reach out to you. You can contact us at 73489 9595, right? So that's 73489 4893 9595. So I hope you've got that number right. Yeah? Great.
Alright guys,
Awesome.
thanks a lot for joining in. To conclude, in a nutshell, I usually preach this and I recommend the clients to keep it very simple. Try to remember these 5 things. That is, one is your, how active you are throughout the day. Okay? Are you do you break your inactivity levels each and every hour? Look for that. And second, your water intake.
Yeah.
Do you really take care of your water intake throughout the day? That makes a huge difference. And third, your stress levels. Okay, how relaxed are you throughout the day? Why are you stressed? I mean, that plays a huge role too. And then comes your sleeping patterns. Your sleeping patterns are very, very important. And then comes your exercises.
And
Right?
diet.
And
Don't
diet,
forget.
and diet.
Very important.
Yeah.
Yes. Take care of your diet.
Diet
so,
too, yeah.
yeah.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot for joining in.
Thanks a lot.
If you have any more questions, please feel free to leave in the comments. Go to HealthifyMe Discourse section. Please do leave comments, and we love to answer more and more questions. Please do reach out to us on the helpline number. We're going to mention our helpline number in the comment section. HealthifyMe. Please do reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening ahead.
Yeah. Bye.
Great.